Welcome to our regular council meeting for Monday, March the 11th. Approval of the agenda. The March 11th, 2019 regular meeting agenda be adopted as presented.
Move.
Move, second. Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Adoption of the minutes. That the minutes of the regular council meeting held February 25th, 2019 be adopted.
So moved.
So moved. Thank you. Second. Any errors or omissions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. There are no delegations tonight. Over to staff reports, please. Mr. Dickett.
Yeah, so on page 7 of your package is a report from myself. As you will recall, on January 14th, a regular council meeting, council directed staff to do a building assessment and provide some costs for getting the existing visitor center and museum potentially back into service. So I did the assessment of the building myself, although I had some assistance from other professionals at different times, and you'll see their reports in the appendices. So if you go to page 17, I've done up a summary table of, oh, your packages and numbers, okay.
17's got the table.
Okay, within the report is the OPC summary table. So I've broken it down. And I've used, basically, to come up with these numbers, I've used recent work that we've had done on other facilities here throughout the municipality, so I'm fairly confident that these numbers are relevant for today. So between 0 and 1 years, this would be the financial outlay that would be required to get into the building, have it functional, dealing with the rot, dealing with the mold issues, bringing the air quality back up to a standard that's acceptable. And you know, the major cost involved there is the museum roof replacement. It's well past its due date, and so I also included a breakdown of costs from basically 3 to 10 years, because if you were to put some money into the building, obviously over time there's other things that are going to reach the end of their useful life, and so there's a breakdown of things such as furnaces and painting of the facility, things of that nature. So this is sort of bare minimum needs and not wants. It's not doing aesthetic upgrades to the interior of the building. It's not necessarily doing aesthetic upgrades to the exterior. It's more so, you know, a minimum outlay required to, again, bring the facility back into use as its intended purpose. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dickett. I appreciate the report, very extensive. Council.
Sure.
Councilor Medlock.
I'll start. Yeah, thank you very much for the report. It was, you know, I asked for something along these lines, and I think this is a good report in that it's detailed enough but not overwhelming, and it basically outlines everything that I think we all knew. Anybody that's taken just a quick visual look at the building. So, and I also appreciate that you've put a little disclaimer, if you will, in there that says that we didn't get intrusive, so we don't know what's behind there. So I have a feeling, based on limited knowledge that I have, that there'd probably be even more costs involved once you start getting into the building. So, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's worth putting this kind of money into that building, and I think that the visitor center is the kind of a facility that Hope really needs to put its best foot forward. We're inviting non-residents to our community, and we want to make sure we leave them with a lasting impression. So I think this would be throwing good money after that. Is that the correct saying? I'd rather see us come up with a plan quickly here, where we could do something different with a different space or the same space, but a newer building or a new building that'll last for years and just get out the gate with a much better option. So I think we're coming up with the budget meetings starting Wednesday here. I think that's the perfect opportunity to kind of see where we're at. I haven't looked at the binder we just got today, but, and that might change how things go, but, I think this is the time that we need to start, planning for something better than this. So I do appreciate this report, and I'll just say that, I don't think this is the kind of money we want to put into that building.
Councillor Smith.
Yeah, excellent report, and I do agree with Councillor Medlock there about the building and that about, the condition is probably could be a lot worse when we open it up than that. And our visitor center should be a showcase thing, like if you look at a lot of the other places and the numbers that we have, the people visiting here, it should be a much higher style place and class and, transportation in and out and everything else, so. But thanks very much for the report, it's an excellent report, thanks, Jeff.
Councillor Erickson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Dickens. It was a great report. I went around and spent quite a bit of time looking at the building, and I'm not prepared to put a dime in it. I went and measured it up, measured the outside to see how many square feet it is. I'm not talking about the concrete, I'm talking about the wood structure in front, the A-frame. And it's less than 1,200 square feet. And I don't know what square footage the Tourist Information Center needs, but you can build a real nice tourist information center for, if it's just a building like that style. Now, if you were going to post and beam and stuff like that, it's a different story, but if you just built a regular straight forward building, you could build it for under $200 a square foot, brand new, with everything new. And so I'm not prepared to spend $162,000 on something that we don't know we're going to get into, and it'll be like another station house thing. I think tear it down, start again, if we want the Tourist Information Center there, and I think it's a good location. The roofing on the back of the building, on the museum, if you look at it, we've neglected, I'm talking about we, the town, has neglected maintenance on that, and a lot of mold coming in. You can see the drains coming off, the roof is all rusted off quite high, and water coming in instead of taking water away from the building. It's a lot of problems that we probably neglected because we haven't fixed it properly. So I think that could all be fixed up very adequately. New roofing could be put on, and it'd be very nice for a good museum. So I'm in favor of keeping the back part of the building, the concrete one, the block building, and putting the new roof on the front part. I think we should just take off and start over. If we want the tourism center there. And I think we should just move forward quickly. I agree with Scott, go for it, make a decision, and get some RFPs out and build a new building.
Any other comments from council? I appreciate your comments, council. At this time, though, we don't know where the funding would come from and what's all involved, so my recommendation will be to put this on an in-camera item later in the month after we've completed our budget cycle, and have a good look at this, because we need to move forward. I think we're all in agreement about that, but how and what, we don't know.
And where?
Pardon me?
And where?
And where, point. So all those issues should go in camera first, and then we'll bring it out to the public once we've come to some decisions and get some more feedback if necessary. But at this time, I think we'll leave it at that, and I appreciate again your report, Mr. Decker. Thank you. No committee reports tonight. Moving on to mayor and council reports. I'll start tonight. I attended the Fraser Valley Regional District and Hospital Board. The only discussion I could bring back with you this time would be the problem with Fraser Health sending released patients to other communities by taxi. If you saw a media report regarding Chilliwack, we had one incident here in town as well. What they paid for a cab to send the fellow from Surrey, they could have got him 3 nights in a hotel, I'm sure. But they've been told under no circumstances not to repeat this policy, and make sure all staff has been notified at Fraser Health that we will not accept incoming patients that are released from hospital. So that was the main takeaway from the hospital board. Healthy communities, nothing reported this time as well. I met with the Fraser Valley Health Care Foundation. They're the liaison group, if you don't know who they are, with the hospital auxiliary for fundraising for equipment for our hospital. They work with them. They're looking for a piece of equipment and they can't quite get, they're short maybe $10,000. They help kick it in or help them with fundraising ideas. So they're a good group to keep in touch with. I represented Councilor Jack Lawrence's 100th birthday on Saturday. Interesting fella. For those of you that read the article in the paper, interesting, colorful life. And he looks great. He does not look what I would think 100 looks like. Vic and I stood next to him, and I don't know. Pretty close. I attended the rec commission meeting, and I put the capital plan in your mailboxes, and we discussed some of the budget items, but it's a rather lengthy report, so I'd rather you have a look at it. You can come back to me with any issues that what's planned for the rec center over the next 5 years. I attended the Come Together seminar on Thursday about racism and hate at Camp Squia. It was very well attended. A lot of community groups were there. I enjoyed the content. I thought they did a really good job. A meeting that the public might be interested in is April 2nd at the Rec Center from 3 to 6. It's the BC Transit and the Fraser Valley Regional District public consultation about future transit in our area. Increase it, what it looks like down the line, cut it back. The public feedback is going to be very important. So that's April 2nd at the Rec Center from 3 to 6. So I'd appreciate some of the public going out, especially those transit users in town. For the public as well, this Wednesday we start our budget cycle at 6:30 in the council chambers. We have 3 sessions before we go to the open public one, so the public's welcome starting Wednesday as well. And that's the end of my report for tonight. I'll move down to Councillor Tron tonight, please.
Thank you. We had Alison Patterson here at the last council meeting, and we got a short stint on the opiate epidemic here in town. But I also attended on Thursday evening a more descriptive and more involving seminar, kind of described as a discussion of negative stigma in social media involving addictions. And it was attended by employees in the mental health field, as well as Alison running the meeting. But I was more of an observer than a participant, but kind of sat back and listened. There was a lot of round table discussion with current issues involving addiction. It was very informative for me, to kind of open my eyes up and give me a different perspective on what's going on. Current issues to discuss, as well as attendees' own experiences with addictions as well. So kind of, as well, just kind of give me a broader perspective on kind of what's going on. And obviously everybody has a different kind of level of or opinion, but it's going to take everybody to kind of go together to kind of get to a proper way of attacking each separate issue. So it was kind of good, and I look forward to getting myself any more information on the issue.
Thank you for going, Councillor Tron. I believe the next one is March 21st.
Is that this?
Shouldn't throw a date out without knowing. It is? Yes, thank you. So if anyone else wants to attend at 6 o'clock at the Blue Moose, I believe. Right, Councillor Stewart.
So, as you know, it was International Women's Day on Friday, and being that I'm the only one here, I'll report out on that. So I did a webinar on towards parity in municipal politics, and the overview of the webinar is how do we get more women inspired to be in municipal politics and to get involved, and what are some of the barriers that women face that prevent them from running in an election or being involved in public consultations or just putting themselves forward in the community a little bit more than they already do. Now, Hope is unique because we have some incredibly strong women in this community. And they are leaders, and they are strong, and they are intelligent. And this town really does cultivate a culture of women being included, and I thank you for that to everyone. So they looked at some of these barriers. They said that childcare and time constraints are difficult for women, financial barriers, there's intimidation and harassment, there's a lack of knowledge and a lack of data that women don't have enough information to make that decision to just jump in both feet. And so what can we do as a community? Well, what we can do is we can be great women leaders in our community, and we can encourage women to step forward, to attend a council meeting, see if it's something that interests them. we can make sure that if they have questions, that those questions get answered. Or encourage women to come out to the public consultations and participate. Basically, what my take from it was to be a leader and encourage more women to get involved. It is really important to have a woman's voice at this table, and to take into consideration when we're making decisions that women will have different needs than men. So off that bandwagon, on to inclusion. And I also attended the Come Together session out at Camp Squia with the mayor, and I'll tell you that it was a very good day for me. It was led by Emily Bailey, who is a local, and she did a really good discussion, and as well as breakout groups where we talked about different things that can help our communities be more inclusive. And the one thing I took away from this session, at the end of the day, they talked about books. And a book should be both a mirror and a window for the reader. So when you read it, you should see yourself in it, and as well as be able to observe others through that written material. And I thought about it, and I went, you know, our community should be a mirror and a window to the people who live here, as well as to the people who visit here. Their window to the inner workings of our community, and that happiness, that welcomeness that we can provide to an outsider. But they should also be able to see themselves here, so that they can resonate with a culture of hope and feel welcome. And so that was my takeaway from the Come Together session. I also attended, I did a whole bunch of writing, I didn't look. BC Skills Competition at U of V was on Thursday morning, and I'm really proud to tell you that we have some excellent competitors down there that have attended post-secondary and are in the process of attending, and they were doing the competitions that day. It was wonderful, and if you know these people, give them a little high five because they did a great job in representing Hope. And also attended the coffee session at the Blue Moose. And on March 7th, I also attended the ratepayers meeting, and sure that Councillor Erickson will report out. But I'll just give a shout out that Lego Expo 3 is taking place this weekend from 10:30 till 3. And there's another opportunity for fundraising on the 15th of March at the Legion. There's a meat drop from 3 to 5, and also you can get beef on a bun and raise some money for a really great cause. So come on out and support the local ratepayers. And that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Good report, Councillor Stewart. Thank you. Councillor Smith.
Okay, the library happenings. March 8th, we had quiz night for the Friends of the Library. That was very interesting. They had 9 tables of 8. Excellent questions. Also, February 27, 28, attended the Fraser Valley Library Board and Langley, which were a planning session. There's lots of new items coming out. It's very interesting. We're on the cutting edge of all the libraries in the country. We're, you know, they had a call from Sherwood, England, asking how some of the projects that we're doing. So we're getting world recognition. That's pretty good. Hope is also the oldest library on the mainland of BC. Fort Hope was the first library that was formed now, so that was good. Also, with His Worship attended Jack Lawrence's 100th birthday. Jackie Taggart was also there, since his wife is her aunt. So that's kind of neat. Also attended the webinar that UBCM, the FCM, she talked about here. Pretty well covered everything like that. The best thing you know is if you look at the Hope Standard last week, 10 years ago you would not have that many women in business in town. Like we are changing in that, eh? So it's a good thing to see that. Also, we did a test run on the opening of Hankey's Place. It was His Worship and Dr. Murakami, my wife. The meals were nice. We came with a questionnaire after, which we all passed. And anyway, they're in the corners of 6th and Wallace, give them a try. New restaurant in that, since we've had 3 closed in the last year and a half, so it's nice to see one open. Also attended a grade 5 class at Coquella School, did a PowerPoint presentation on council, you know, and other stuff. Interesting for council, I took one of the packages with you, and they said, you must be prepared when you go to council. I said, very observant of them. I said, His Worship creates these big papers like this. Also, the talk about volunteers in the town here. In fact, that all the mayor and council here of all volunteers in different projects, what they thought was kind of good. Interesting questions. They fielded about 80 questions, which I thought was pretty good for a grade 5 class, and they had some very good ones. So it's nice to see that younger people are paying attention, and that come election time, when they get old enough to vote. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. You remind me of a few other things that I forgot in my report. We had a busy week. Councillor Medlock.
Yeah, thanks. So, since the last council meeting, we had an Advantage Oak meeting that I think Councillor Smith's gonna report out on. And, yeah, the figure skating club held their annual, carnival, what they call it. It, was the last one for their coach, Michelle and Nancy. She's retiring after 20 years, so, she's done a heck of a job with a lot of people coming through both doing figure skating, so it was really good. Well attended, and they did 2 shows on Saturday, and my daughter's a figure skater, so I was there both times. It was really good. And that's really all I have to report. Short one tonight.
Thank you. I'm going to go down to Councillor Smith next, and then come back to Dr. Erickson. Councillor Erickson.
Okay, as Scott mentioned too, February 26th, the Advantage Hope Board meeting. Welcomed on 2 new board members, Rod Peters and Mark Glentworth. Good to see them step up. Rod's been in the community for quite some time, so he mentioned a few things as well. He wants to start working more with the First Nations and seeing if different boards can go meet in different First Nations areas too, to see their communities as well as they come to see our community as well, and get involved in coming down to council chambers. Maybe we will host meetings with either Advantage Hope or council out at some of the different reservations as well. So it's neat hearing from Rod and doing that. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, this year, April 24th will be Advantage Hope's, 26th will be Advantage Hope's AGM at the Rec Center. So you'll see newspaper articles going out for that. Budget meeting starting this week. And then also the Hope Island Hockey League year-end tournament is going to be this weekend. Your beer gardens, there's 18 teams total coming to the community. One of the organizers is actually overbooked, so some of the games are actually going to be, 3 of the games are going to be played in Chilliwack, because there's not quite enough ice. But if you want to come and see Councillor Tron and myself slip around on some ice, come over this weekend. And that's all I have left to report.
Are you on the same team?
Yes.
Oh. Can't be good. Councillor Erickson, welcome back. Nice to have you back at the table.
I'm glad to be back. I don't want to go through what I went through the last 4 weeks. I had shoulder surgery. I was, just a little history I had, was riding up Othello Hill on my bike in the summer, and my wife was behind me. So I get going up the hill and get to the top, and I turn around, she's not there. So I ride back down to see where she was, and so she was walking. So I said, how come you're not riding? So she said, can't make it. I said, okay, so I rode back up again, came back down the second time, and as I'm turning around the second of the hill, it's really rough, and it's quite a sharp turn, and you always unclip, because my feet are pedals. And so what happened, my clip broke and I couldn't get my foot up, so I crashed down on my shoulder. So I just thought it hurt like crazy, but I rode up to the highway and came back home. Then I couldn't lift my arm, and so till September, I just said, well, I just damaged it. So I finally went to the doctor, and the doctor says, you tore your rotator cuff muscle. So I said, well, when can I have the surgery? And she said, well, it's a year and a half at least. Wait. Well, when you're getting old like I am, a year and a half, so you don't want to wait a year and a half. So I phoned my son in Madison Hat, who was a surgeon. He said, well, Dad, let me see if I can talk to my orthopedic friend. So the guy said he'd take me on, and that's why on February 8th, he had a cancellation, so I drove out overnight to get there, and they did the surgery. But it wasn't just a simple surgery. It was, according to him, he said it's one of the toughest ones he'd done. He had to get somebody else in that just did shoulder surgery, because what happened, the muscle had pulled back so far away, and to pull it back up was very complicated. But I'm telling you, I've never had so much pain when I woke up out of surgery. Oh man, it was terrible. So I was planning on coming to the Monday meeting, so we drove home. I got home at 5 o'clock. Wendy, my wife, drove home, and it's 11-hour drive, and so I couldn't come to the meeting. I got out of the truck, and I just could barely get in the house. I was done. So I missed that Monday meeting, and then the next Monday meeting that I missed again, that's the only days he does his recalls. So I had to fly out there again, and, so this week I'm good. Anyway, that's my little history, and it's getting better. I can start moving a little bit now. Okay, so the last couple of weeks I've been quite busy too. I attended the Telecom Housing Committee. Telecom is the parents are trying to find some housing support for their young people or their adult children that are, the parents are getting old and they're feeling that they just won't have enough energy to look after them for a long time, so they'd like to get some housing. So I attended that meeting, and we're gonna be meeting tomorrow with Ken Hansen. He's been really helping the committee and trying to find someone who can do some preliminary drawings. They're gonna form a society and get some preliminary drawings and see if we can get some financing to see if we can build some type of housing support for the young people. It's a real need, and I'm really glad I can be there to help support them. Then I attended the Hope Ratepayers meeting on Thursday night. It was their annual general meeting, and they voted in president, secretary, and treasurer, and they spoke on what the accomplishments they did last year and what the plans are for this year. And of course, this coming Saturday, the third Lego Expo is coming up. And another thing, I just want to thank you, John, publicly for videoing these meetings. It's great that these videos are out on YouTube, and so many people can see them. And I just want to thank you. You've been probably the most regular council member person on here every week, so we want to thank you for doing that. Then I sat in for Heather on Hope Mental Health Society meeting. It's a meeting where parents are coming together to try and put their input to see how they can help their children that are at home with them also. And also attended the HATS on Thursday, the Roundtable Addiction at the Blue Moose. That was very informative. And on Wednesday, I think Jackie Taggart's coming to,
She is.
for at 1 o'clock, I think, over here at the Chamber. Wrote me a note saying they're gonna be here at 1 o'clock for,
Oh, I don't know, I'm with you at 10 o'clock.
or at 10 o'clock, so
Yeah.
I think it's 1 o'clock here at the Hope Press Cafe over here. And there seemed to be something else I missed. Okay, one thing I'd like to bring up at my meeting is, over the last 9 months, we've been discussing on council remuneration, and it seems it hasn't gone, we talk about it, and it hasn't gone any farther than that, so I'd like to bring that forward in this meeting. And the reason why I'm kind of pushing it is, we have council members present and in the future that have to work for a living. I'm kind of retired, so I'm okay, but the ones that have to work, and then when they take time off, it's really difficult for them. They have to make up their time, or they have to lose hours. And so I think, I would like to see us form a committee, or get the CAO to form a committee to ask the Chamber of Commerce to have the Chamber of Commerce form a committee to look at the remuneration for communities our size, and to compare our remuneration with their remuneration, and see if we can up the remuneration a bit for our council. I think we looked at it, we had a report a while back, and we were the lowest on what was one of the lowest, and not the lowest, on all the areas, like, for example, Agassiz Harrison. So I would like to make a motion today that if the CAO could ask the Chamber of Commerce to form a committee of 3 to 5 people, and look at the remuneration, and come back and report to council by the next council meeting, and then we can discuss it and vote after that.
Before I entertain a motion on that, Councilor Erickson, I'd like to make a couple of comments if I could. If council's interested in moving forward with this, you probably don't need to have a committee. The staff can look at other communities, like you said, do a comparison and bring back a report to council. Council can have a look at it rather than forming an outside committee, if that's doable for.
I guess the reason why I thought it's because it's independent, it's third party, it's not part of us. And then, I guess Mr. Forlowski could do that because it's independent from him. But I thought if it was a community thing, then it wouldn't look like we're pushing our way to get a certain wage or a certain remuneration where the Chamber of Commerce, there is people that can say, well, for our town, we should be getting this. Because we're way down the list, and I feel sorry for these young guys that are working and have to take a day off and go to the meetings, and then they have to work up Saturday or Sunday or don't get paid at all. I think we should really work toward that. So, it doesn't matter, if it's not Chamber, as long as we move forward and have a report back by next week, next council meeting if possible.
I don't think that's realistic. I'll speak up for staff on that. We have a lot on our plates right now and the budget sessions that are going on. But I would entertain that we move forward with that. And for those that were on council the last term, compared to this term, you're already getting less this term because of the new tax laws through the tax. All of us at the table for that matter. But I understand what you're saying, and I think it needs to be looked at for sure. I was a little reluctant at first, but I understand the comments, especially with the attracting younger council members. So you have a motion on the table. Do you want to withdraw it? Do you want to move forward with it? What do you want to do?
I think we should, well, if we don't want the Chamber, we could just have a motion that we ask the CAO to look at this and come back with a report, you know, maybe within a month then.
Okay.
You know, if next week, if 2 weeks is not enough, let's go.
I'm sure staff would appreciate it, to stretch it out to at least a month. Do we have a second for that motion? Councillor Stewart. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you for your council reports. Moving on now to permits and bylaws. There's a report dated March the 11th, 2019 from the Director of Community Development, reapplication to redesignate and rezone 64231 and 64295 Flood Hope Road, Wendler Engineering. Con. Over to you, Mr. Gill. Do you need to comment on this before we move forward?
Mr. Mayor, and your honorable council, the application is regarding 2 properties along Flood Hope Road, the Richmond Hill corridor area. The smaller of the 2 properties is going to be a rezoning from RS1 to RS2, which is it allows for a compact lot. That would conceptually be a strata subdivision. And then the larger parcel would be a RS1 zone to CD7 zone, basically a comprehensive development zone, which would have 3 crucial parts to it. One would be just an extension of the RS2 portion from the smaller lot, then a sort of a ground-orientated multifamily to the main portion of the lot, and then at the far edge, more looking over the highway towards the river, it would be the hotel, perhaps an amenity restaurant and convenience store use.
Yes. Councillor Harrison.
This was a struggle, trying to find out where it is. Is it from where the auto wrecking is and then going towards Silver Creek, or is it past the auto wrecking and then going towards Silver Creek?
Mr. Mayor, to correct Councilor Erickson, you're talking about Mario's towing facility?
Yeah. Is that Mario's towing?
Yes.
Okay, where all the cars are parked.
Okay.
Sorry, where all the cars are.
Anything, you're correct, anything going east, so that small parcel is right next to that one,
Yeah,
and then the larger parcel is just next to that smaller one.
so where the road comes off into Mario's towing, from there, west, I guess.
Going east, yes. And so there's that sort of truck pull-out portion.
This is Mario's here, the towing area, and this is the truck pull-out over here. There's a driveway that accesses the property of the truck pull-out, so this is all basically rock that you see.
Yeah, big, okay. Yeah, 'cause I went around and I couldn't, there's no post you could find, so I was just trying to picture where it is.
All right, so we'll start with recommendation number 1. The District of Hope Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw number 1445, 2019 be given first and second readings in order to add comprehensive development, CD7, as a compatible zoning category under the urban, suburban, residential land use designation, and further that the public be notified in accordance with the District of Hope application procedures and public hearing information meeting procedure bylaw number 1393, the local government and the community charter, and further that the council of the District of Hope has considered the duty to consult regarding the official community plan amendment bylaw number 1445, 2019, and concurs with the Director of Community Development that consultation be undertaken with the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, the District of Hope Director of Finance, and the District of Hope Director of Operations.
I'll move recommendation number 1 as read.
Thank you. Moved. Second. Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Recommendation number 2, that the District of Hope zoning amendment bylaw number 1446, 2019 be given first and second readings in order to rezone 64295 Flood Hope Road from single-family residential RS1 to comprehensive development CD7, and further that the public be notified in accordance with the District of Hope application procedures and public hearings information meeting procedure bylaw number 1393, the Local Government Act and Community Charter.
I'll move that.
Second.
I have a question.
Okay.
I also have a question.
Okay, moved in second, discussion? Councillor Erickson.
Do we have water in that area? There's no city water there, is there?
No.
The sewer's down below, I imagine.
Mayor, through you, that's where there's a big servicing gap between two watering systems, Town of Hope and Silver Creek, so it's the void.
So they know they'll have to provide water?
That's correct.
Councilor Miller. Thank you. I didn't know exactly which of these 4 recommendations to fit this question into, so I'll just toss it in here. Or a couple questions. So with the CD7 zone, site-specific, obviously, are the setbacks and requirements with the RS2 and RM2 and whatnot, are they all consistent with the setbacks in those individual zones?
Mr. Mayor, through you, yes, we wanted to make sure that consistency was in place. Originally, staff thought it would be trying to put 3 zones onto one parcel. However, administratively speaking, it would be a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we went the CD route.
Yeah, it makes sense to do the CD road. I just want, like, within that comprehensive development 7 zone, there will be a component of a few other types of zones. So I guess the question is, like for the RM2 section of that CD7 zone, are the setbacks the same in that RM2 as they are in any other RM2? No variances are being requested, I guess.
No variances are being requested, and the RM2 and the RS2 portions are to be consistent with the zone, of the associated zones. The only one that's sort of out in the fray is basically the highway commercial portion that we've limited to those certain uses that were sort of wanted by the developer.
Specifically to the
Yes.
uses.
And we didn't want to add more retail or anything to that spot because of the potential of decentralization of our commercial corridor areas.
So then, another sort of different line of questioning. Will the properties need to be consolidated in the area A? So this is the larger parcel of property. The far west portion will be RS2. So in their little subdivision plan, I mean, I know it's probably not the subdivision plan, but in the drawings that we have, they show 22 parcels there in that strata. And it's gonna be basically between 2 properties, 2 current properties. Do they have to be amalgamated, those properties, for this whole development to happen, or, and where does that come into play?
Mr. Mayor, through you, yes, there would be a certain consolidation that would occur. At that point, that portion would become split zone from, it'd be CD7 and RS2 if successful with the rezoning. However, the uses would be the same.
The same, right?
Yes.
So that's another process that has to happen before development would take place.
Mr. Mayor, through you, yes, that would probably need to take place during subdivision.
Okay, I understand. I went and took a walk at the property, hope that's okay, but, yeah, to figure out where it was, and I was amazed. You drive down Richmond Hill and there's nothing but a rock wall, but behind that, it goes up and down fairly quickly, and then there's actually a road in there. I guess you could call it a road.
A lot of big trouble too.
There's a lot of flat land in there, so I was amazed and impressed with the views, so I can see why they want to use that property.
Yeah, beautiful view.
So I have another question.
Councilor Erickson.
So, for water, would we have enough water supply to carry that 27 units or whatever it is in the hotel, and, or would they have to put their own water system in, or are they gonna tie into ours? That's a real concern that I have.
Mr. Mayor, through you, Councilor Erickson, this is why we have recommendation number 4. We're basically putting a covenant on the property, so they cannot build without providing for those services. And if there's any inequality, or if it's not capable of putting in that service system, then they're stuck. However, if there is something to upgrade our system that is required, that's gonna be on their hands at their cost and their engineering.
Any more questions on recommendation number 2? Councilor Smith.
Mr. Dickens, the water recipe, if it came out of Hope the way, for water for that area, if we could supply, because Silver Creek is kind of short on water compared to Hope.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, through you, more information will be coming out at the March 25th council meeting, where our consultants will be presenting the water master plan. You'll be able to clearly see what the future looks like between the town 87 zone and the Silver Creek zone, and the potential upgrades that are going to be required in the future to properly service the area. So, I think the questions will be answered on the 25th.
All right, so recommendation number 2, need a motion? Oh, we did, move to second, we have to vote on that. Thank you, Councilor Medlock. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Recommendation number 3, the District of Hope zoning bylaw amendment bylaw number 1444-2019 be given first and second readings in order to rezone 64231 Flood Hope Road from single-family residential RS1 to compact single-family residential RS2, and further that the public be notified in accordance with the District of Hope application procedures and public hearing information meeting procedure bylaw number 1393, the Local Government Act, and the Community Charter. Any questions for staff on this point at this time? Motion, Councilor Smith, second, Councilor Tron. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Recommendation number 4, that prior to considering the adoption of District of Hope zoning amendment bylaw number 1444-2019, District of Hope official community plan amendment bylaw number 1445-2019, and District of Hope zoning amendment bylaw number 1446-2019, the developer must enter into a servicing covenant, and council authorizes the Director of Community Development to endorse the required covenant document. Moved. Second. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Mr. Gill, for your comprehensive report as usual. Takes a while to sort through it, but it's always good work, and I appreciate that. Next item is bylaw revision and consolidation authority bylaw. That the bylaw revision and consolidation authority bylaw number 1450-2019 be read a first, second, and third time this 11th day of March 2019. Moved. Second. Councilor Medlock. Thank you. We're good. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Correspondence. Let's move to the accounts payable checking list first. The accounts payable checking list for February 2019 will be received. Moved. Second. Any discussion? Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Information correspondence, that the information correspondence list dated March the 11th be received. Thank you. Second. Thank you. All those in favor? All those carried. There's no other pertinent business tonight. At this time, we'll entertain any questions from the public for items relevant to the agenda. Don't be shy. Would anyone like to speak on anything we discussed tonight? Please do it.
I'd like to speak about the visitor center. We've been residents here now for 7 years.
Could you just take a moment and introduce yourself, please?
Okay, I'm Beverly Mason, I live up Kakwa Lake.
Thank you.
We've been here for about 7 years now, and it is a disgrace. Either way you come into Hope now, you see dilapidated buildings. I can't say it any better than that. This is one, I think, that we can control now and build something nice. Repairing it, and I looked at the budget for that, which, like you say, once you open up the walls, you see other things happening, foundations, whatever. Then you're going back to square one with what the building you had in the beginning of time. Was that adequate at the time? I don't think so. You've got a museum. You should have a proper museum and a proper building, and then you can go forward. It seems like you're going back to sort of patch it, make it good, and then go on to something else. Pick something and do it right. That's my heartfelt feeling about this.
I got a loud enough voice. I appreciate your feedback. We are working on something. I know it seems like sometimes we're not. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that needs to be dealt with. It's only one piece of a big puzzle that we're working on. And I hate to say, ask you to be patient, but you're going to be patient a little bit longer because we have a lot of work still to do. We have further direction now from staff. I think we're all in agreement that building can't be fixed. It needs to
I'm
be dealt
glad
with.
that you're on that
Leave the
track.
whole tables on side with that, so we're all headed in the same direction. So I appreciate your comments. Notice the next meeting is March the 25th, 7 o'clock here at the council chambers, unless you're coming this Wednesday to the budget meeting, and you're welcome to do that as well. So a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Second. All those in favor? All those carried?
This one's.